Good afternoon. My name is Dan Brotman. I may go a little bit over 5 minutes. If I could take some of Andrew's time, it would probably only be a minute or two.
Okay.
I'm a co-founder of the Glendale Environmental Coalition, or GEC. As you probably know, the GEC came together last summer to oppose the Grayson project. We don't have a formal membership structure, but we have people opt into our mailing list, and on that basis, we have now over 800 supporters, and between 500 and 600 of those are Glendale residents. And this isn't just a passive list. As you also probably know, we encouraged people to come and send comments on the draft EIR, and as you've heard, over 1,100 people responded expressing opposition to this project. And it goes beyond letter writing. We had a large crowd come to the EIR hearing in front of this commission. More recently, we had 200 people rally in front of City Hall when we thought the EIR was going to be discussed, and then 500, in fact more than 500, 2 weeks later when the actual discussion took place. We're expecting a similar sized crowd next Tuesday. Why should this matter to you? Why am I telling you about these crowds? It should matter to you because it says that a large segment of the community is concerned about this project, either because of climate risks, air quality impacts, or financial implications. I'm not suggesting that you oppose the project simply because it's unpopular, but the fact that so many people care this much makes it imperative, and this is my point, it makes it imperative that everything be done to explore clean energy alternatives before spending even a dime on gas infrastructure. Have we done all we can to explore clean alternatives? It's pretty clear we have not. From the time this project was first conceived, the intent was always to build a gas plant. Look at how GWP went out to select its consultants, Pace and Stantec. The RFP set an explicit requirement for expertise in gas generation. The RFP was silent on expertise with renewables or energy efficiency. Silent. Of course, GWP got what it wanted, gas experts. So even if the people working on this project were inclined to look at alternatives, and based on their financial interests, I would say they were not inclined to do so. But even if they were, they lacked the expertise. This is a critical flaw. I understand that legally, GWP does not need to evaluate all potential alternatives to the project. They only need to look at a few alternatives. These can be as realistic or unrealistic as they choose. Well, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe they can't do that. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. GWP is not a private entity. It answers to the city, which in turn is answerable to the residents. And the residents want to know that every reasonable effort has been made to use renewables and energy efficiency to solve Glendale's reliability needs post-Grayson. They do not believe this has been done, nor do I, nor does anybody who has looked at this carefully. So it behooves this commission to recommend that council not certify the EIR, but instead commission a clean energy study by a group of people with the expertise to study clean energy. This would take 6 months, 9 months, at most a year, not 3 years. That number was pulled out of somewhere, but it's not what we're talking about. What's the downside? There's no need to reject the EIR. Just set it aside and don't act on it until the facts are in. And I would also respectfully ask the commission that this be done with the active involvement of the community through a citizens advisory panel of some kind. Details can be worked out, but the key is to ensure that the process is above board and that the residents trust the outcome, whatever it might be. Those are my prepared comments. I have one other thing I would like to say, and that is we hear a lot about the power content label. We hear Mr. Zern talk about the 47% of renewable in our portfolio. A question I have is, if we go forward with this repowering, will Mr. Zern or GWP commit that that number will not go below 47%? In other words, we're praising ourselves about having achieved this milestone. And it is an important milestone, and it's a great thing that we've done. But can they commit that we will not backpedal on that? Nothing they've said substantiates that. All they've said is we will comply with state regulations. What I believe will happen is that we will slip back because we have all this gas, and what are we going to do with it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Brotman.